fishy, fishy.
Good afternoon, YouTube. This is James with Here Fishy Outdoors. Welcome to the Here Fishy Outdoors Clubhouse, aka my garage. Today I wanted to show you a tackle box that I bring with me fishing. It's a pretty universal and diverse setup. I added some tackle and some lures and different things for different species of fish. So if you're out there and you kind of have no idea what to bring with you, this will give you a basic idea. So please like and subscribe. Stay tuned. Alright, so to start off, this is the tackle box I have. You can get these from any fishing store, even like Walmart has them. It's your basic tackle box. Your grandpa probably has an older version of this. But this one works for pretty much anything. So for starters, the clear top here. One thing I always bring with me if I'm fishing on the bottom, these strike indicator bells. You clip these on the top of your rod, and when a fish bites, you hear that noise. So never leave home without these. I always bring these with me. All right. To start off, in the top of my tackle box is all the tackle. Wouldn't be a tackle box if I didn't have tackle, right? So some of the things I have in here, I've got these weights. If I'm fishing on the bottom, I like to use egg sinkers. These float freely on your line above your swivel. They come in different weights. I've got 1 ounce, ½ ounce, 3/4 ounce. It's good to have a variety, so I bring all sorts of different weights. So if I want to cast out further, I'll bring those heavier weights. I also have some smaller versions, like so. Just kind of depends. If you're fishing a small pond or a creek, you're going to want to use smaller weights. And then I have a bunch of split shots as well. Split shots are the ones that you can pinch, put on your line. I always put these just above the hook if I want to add a little extra weight above my worm or whatever else I'm using. So those are the weights I like to bring. Then I have different hooks. So here I have what's called jig heads. So these hooks, they are weighted, and then looks like they have an eyeball at the top. So it's to kind of mimic an eyeball of a fish or a bug, anything of that nature. I'll show you what kind of soft baits that I attach to those. And then here I've got some bass hook, small circle hook for bass, catfish, walleye. And then I have some circle hooks as well for catfish. Again, just like the weights, it's always good to have variety in your hooks. If you don't quite know what you're fishing for and you just want to have kind of a diverse tackle box that will allow you to target multiple different species, it's good to have different size hooks. That way you're not limited to what you're fishing for. I always keep my tackle box in my truck. That way if somebody invites me fishing or I pull up somewhere and I decide to fish, I'll have my rod and my tackle box in my truck and then different types of hook. So if I want to fish for trout or bass or walleye or catfish, I can do that. All right, next, I always like to bring some different spinners with me. Spinners mimic insects in the water, so having different colors and sizes and varieties is very important as well. So here I have some Panther Martin and Vibrex. They're called Blue Foxes. So different type spinners to bring as well. Those will vibrate and swim around in the water and spin around to mimic an insect. So you can target trout, bass. I've seen people catch walleye. I've caught salmon and steelhead on those as well. So, and along with those, I have some Mepps spinners. This one's a Joe's Fly, which mimics a fly. These are really good. I've caught some pretty large trout on these. And then I have some basic rooster tails. These are your old school, probably seen your grandpa or your dad have these. I've had a lot of success catching different types of fish on these as well. So having different colors like rainbow patterns, bright colors, dark colors, very important. Some days the fish might like bright colors. Some days they might like more natural colors. So it just kind of depends on what the weather is like and what their mood is. Next thing I like to bring, some barrel swivels. So these allow you to, you can tie like a leader onto your main line. So you attach your main line onto one end and then the leader that leads down to your hook on the other end. And then your weight can sit on top of these as well. So I like to bring different sizes of these. I prefer the barrel swivel versus this one with the little clip on the end. This little clip on the end, if you get pre-tied fishing lines with a little loop, you can just kind of clip them on there. But I like to tie my own fishing line on with different knots. That way I can change the length of my leader, just kind of based on different things in the water, like vegetation, for example. Next, I have different bobbers. So here, you got this little float bobber that clips on, and it's weighted as well. I have my slip bobber, which if you've seen my slip bobber tutorial video, this is one of my favorite ones to use. Here's another variety of a slip bobber from Bass Pro Shops. And then I have these little bright neon clip-on bobbers. I use these for catching smaller fish, bluegill, any bait fish, minnows, things like that, even small trout. So these are for like your lighter tackle. So that's the basic tackle and a couple spinners that I have there. And next, I like to bring different types of lures as well. Again, you don't want to limit yourself. So here in Colorado, we have walleye, bass, catfish, trout, carp, all sorts of different fish. So I like to bring different size lures just based on what I want to fish for. And then if I have all those different types in my tackle box, I'm not limited. So we have jerk baits, so like bass and walleye, like these, so different sizes. I have kind of a jointed crankbait. I've caught bass on those and walleye as well. Those ones dive down a little bit deeper in the water. This is a Rapala, so if you can see it, it's trout pattern, so it looks like a baby trout. So here in Colorado, things like brown trout or some aggressive larger trout are territorial, and they will strike these lures because they look like baby fish. So, yeah, just different varieties, different colors, different patterns. Next I have what's called blade baits. They are very thin, come in different sizes, and they vibrate extremely hard in the water. So they almost make like a shaking pattern. I've caught walleye, bass, and trout on these. So a couple different patterns and sizes there. I've had a lot of success on those. Next up, I have some different spoons. This guy's your standard gold and red spoon. I've got some smaller Castmasters. That's kind of a fire like crawdad color there. Oops. And then got some blue and silver, so those kind of do a wiggle action in the water. I don't use those very often, but it's always good, like I said, to mix it up. Next I have some soft baits. This one's a shad. Looks like a small fish. Kind of same concept. Use these for bass, little paddle baits there. Different colors. I even have this guy that looks super realistic. So I can use those to fish for bass and walleye around here as well. And here I have little baby crawdads, little tube baits like that. You can catch trout and things of that nature. Here's an example. It's like a small worm. This is one of those jig heads that I'm using on there. So it kind of mimics a little insect or a worm, and it looks like it has an eyeball. So You could use those with a bobber or just kind of casting it out there too. Got a pink worm. Trout love these guys here. Had some success there. Little worm, like fly fishing flies there. So again, just a bunch of different things so I can target other fish around here. Lots of fun using these lures to cast and retrieve. Alright, so that's it as far as the lures go. So now we'll get to the bottom. So it's very important to have extra fishing line, whether you run out of line on your reel or you want to tie leaders on. So again, kind of based on what you want to fish for, I use anywhere from 8 pounds up to like 15, which would work for bass, carp, catfish, trout. So here I have 10 pound and 12 pound. I prefer using fluorocarbon. It's a clear line. It does not twist up very easily. So I've had a lot of good luck with this line, and I definitely cannot complain. So that's one that I do recommend. I have my scale. So this is just analog scale. I like digital scales better, but this is kind of what I have with me at the time. So if you're ever trying to catch like a personal best, or you're curious how big the fish is that you caught, it's good to have a scale with you. I always bring bug spray. If you know you're by like a pond or any water, you're gonna have a lot of mosquitoes down there. Pliers. I always bring needle nose pliers. It's good to get the hooks out of the fish's mouth, especially if they swallowed the hook, or if you have a treble hook and don't want to touch it. Always bring those pliers with you. Then I recommend, I do not know what brand this is. I know Gerber makes something similar, but these are very, very handy to cut your line. It can cut through braided line. It even has a bottle opener on there. But I always bring these with me. As you know, I love bringing scent. If you're not using scent and you're fishing, you're probably not going to be as successful. If I'm using things like bluegill as bait, I won't put scent on, but if I use worms or shrimp, anything like that, I have shrimp scent and I have garlic scent. Trout, catfish, and other species love garlic. I've had a lot of luck with this, as well as shrimp. Another little thing that's made by Power Bait. These are called Power Eggs. They are also garlic scented. These ones are pink. They kind of mimic fish eggs, so they're definitely strong. These do float, so I like to use these fishing for trout, putting a little piece of worm on the hook off the bottom, and then this will allow it to float off the bottom, and fish are attracted to these as well. I have these little black kind of micro baits. These are good for trout as well. You can put these on a bobber if you're fishing in a stream or a river, and kind of twitch them out there. Same kind of thing, trout magnets. You can put scent on these, put them on a bobber, whether you're floating in a river or a reservoir or a pond. And then I just have some other extra hooks. These guys look like little fish heads. You can add on. And then I just have little different sizes and varieties. So again, it's good to mix it up. You always want to have extra tackle with you, whether that's hooks, weights, swivels, bobbers. Definitely want to bring all those lures. And then I have extra egg sinkers as well. These are 3/4 ounce. I use these when I'm catfish, carp, some trout as well. It'll help you cast it out there. These will sink to the bottom and allow your bait to sit there. Last but not least, I have some bobber stops. So in my slip bobber tutorial, this is what I use. So this comes with beads and then those bobber stops there. So that is my basic tackle box. This will allow you to target multiple species of fish, and this is pretty much all you need. Obviously your rod and reel and all that. I'll show you what kind of rods I bring in a different video. And then lastly, I don't put these in my tackle box, but I bring these with. These are different rod holders. So You can use like a stick if you find one. You can use rocks, big heavy boulders. But these stick in the ground, and then you can rest your rod in here. That way you don't have to hold it or just lay it down on the ground. So they are collapsible. And then this is a different type that you stick in the ground and hold your rod as well. Last thing I always recommend bringing, if it's hot outside, sunscreen. If you're like me, you like to go fishing for hours and hours on end. So very important to have sunscreen and bug spray. Those are two very important things I bring with me. So that is it. Let me know if you guys want to see any other videos, if you have any questions, if you want to see my rod, reel setups, anything else that I bring with me, just let me know. Thank you for watching, and again, please like and subscribe.